Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, and I'm taking care of business. Joining me today is Monica Kretschmer, who is founder and CEO of the Universal Women's Network. Thank you, Monica, for joining us today. And I understand you have some big news to share about some recent recognition you got on LinkedIn. If you could explain that and tell us about that.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So first off, thank you so much for having me. It is International Women's Day. And, I always preach that we celebrate women every single day. And so, when you start off and you have your head down and working hard and you're consistent with your message, people take notice. And so the announcement on LinkedIn yesterday that I was chosen as one of the top LinkedIn voices across Canada and the US, 15 thought leaders and experts in the space of gender equity. So it was quite an honor to receive that notification. I had to look twice at it. But when you're working hard and you have your head down and you're committed and you stay focused on what you believe in, people do pay attention. So it's really quite an honor.
So you mentioned you work hard, and then you work tirelessly on this. Tell us a little bit about what you do through the Universal Women's Network to promote women and and entrepreneurship and in being in business.
So, I say that every woman starts with a story. I think I was tested for a bigger purpose. In 2014, I left with a baby and a 7-month-old baby. And that was sort of my beginning of my 7-year journey that I call it through the court system. So it was 14 actions, 22 days of trial, 4,800 hours of litigation. So that is what really fueled me to start the Universal Women's Network, and a platform where every woman's voice belonged. I felt that I was tested for a bigger purpose. I have to say that it evolved very organically, because the woman that helped me through that scenario is the reason that I built Woman of Inspiration Awards. I built the awards to recognize a woman that inspired me, that got me through a really tough time. And I honestly don't know that I'd be in the same place that I am in if she didn't stand up and say, I believe in you. When everybody else ran in the other direction, she knew I needed support. And so that is a really big piece of the Universal Women's Network. And it came from my lived experience of wanting to sort of champion for somebody that's championing for me. And when I remember standing on that stage that day, Mario, in 2015, it was September 26, 2015, exactly to the day that I'm honoring her was the exact day 8 years earlier that I signed my life away to work with her for my divorce. And so moments like that are almost like aha moments, going, you're on the right path, keep going, run with it. But it was at that time that, there wasn't as much celebration of women. It was only celebrating one type of women. And, I remember, building the network and going, who is going to be in the network? And I clearly wanted all women's voices to be represented. And the funniest part is, Mario, is that I was met with so many naysayers saying, you can't possibly represent the voices of all women. There's only entrepreneurs or there's only professionals. That is it. There's 2 types of women, focus on one. That's all you should do. And I am so glad that I didn't listen to the naysayers, because of course, flip to 2022, where, if you're not, embracing a culture of inclusivity and valuing what all voices bring to the table, you are missing out and you're way back. It's not going to change. It's only going to get better. And we're going to continue to go in the right direction.
So when you look back in time, obviously, from a society perspective and also from a business perspective, we're in a completely different world in 2022 than say we were even 5 years ago, and most definitely 10, 20 years ago. Are we headed to that direction? That's continuing, right? And will we get to the point where we, I guess, need to be eventually?
Well, there's so many reports out there that we're making progress, but it's so incremental, and I honestly do think it's because it's left to, oh, that's somebody else's role, Or, people put out these great big white papers, and it's great big companies and it's committees. And, I've always been in the mindset that every single person plays a role. And I wore this shirt for you to support her. And that includes our male allies. So I really believe that, I started talking about, at the height of Me Too is when it really went on for me loud and clear. My son was 12 at the time. And I thought, where are your role models? Because I've always been surrounded, like yourself, Mario. You're like, hey, what can we do to champion for you? I've always been surrounded by men that are supportive, want women to succeed. The ones that don't, you just forget about them. You don't want to do business with them. You just like leave them in their own world. Like if they're not drinking the Kool-Aid, let's move forward. And so, I wanted to support her to elevate the men that were champions for women in their networks, their workplaces, and communities. Because men that are champions at home do not take their hat off and become a different person driving to the office. Do not change their jacket and go out into the community and serve or network and are a different person. It's up to the culture that we actually create. And so I truly do believe that to move it and to keep the momentum going, men are a big part of that conversation. We cannot do it without your support. And I think that everyone plays a role to support her.
All right, super. Thanks for joining us, Monica. And again, congrats on that honor.
Thank you so much, Mario. Love to be back anytime you want me. Great job. And thank you so much for supporting me to support her.
All right, super. Thanks a lot. And that was Monica Kretschmer, who is founder and CEO of the Universal Women's Network. I'm Mario Toneguzzi. This has been Taking Care of Business. Thanks for joining us today.